Hello everyone, this is Jubair Khan and you are watching Joravi Nursing online classes. So today we are going to discuss cardiac dysarrhythmias. So before starting the video, please subscribe my channel if you are new on my channel, like this video and share to others. So today's topic is cardiac dysarrhythmias. So what is cardiac dysarrhythmias? So what is normal rhythm and what is ECG? These all things we will see. So this is the normal ECG. Here you can see. So this is the normal sinus rhythm. Okay, it will be a normal sinus rhythm. So here you can see. So what is normal sinus rhythm? So rhythm originates from the SA nodes. So from where it will be originate? It will be originate from the SA node. And atrial and ventricular rhythms are regular. So sinus rhythm, if it is normal, then ventricular and atrial rhythm will be regular. So atrial and ventricular rate will be between 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, and PR interval and QR interval beats are within normal limits. Okay, so that this is the normal sinus rhythm. So what will be the normal sinus rhythm? Here you can see. So normal sinus rhythm, both atrial and ventricular contracts rhythms are essentially regular. A slight variation rhythm is normal. Atrial and ventricular rates are both 83 beats per minute. There is one P wave. So in each complex ECG complex there will be a one P wave like this. Okay, there will be a one P wave. So before each QRS complex, so this is the QRS complex. So before each QRS complex there will be one P wave. So it is P wave, this is QRS complex, and all P waves are consistent morphology or shape. So these in normal sinus rhythm, if it is normal ECG or normal sinus rhythm, so it will be what? It will be consistent at or consistent morphology or shape. So shapes and morphology will be consistent, and PR interval measures 0.18 seconds. So here PR interval we can measure, here it will be 0.1 seconds. So the normal PR interval value is 0.1 to 0.20 seconds. So this is the normal PR interval. If it is in between this, so that is normal only. If it is going less than 0.112, so then it will be some problem is there, or if it is greater than 0.2, so then also it is problem. And QRS complex measure will be 0.06 seconds. So it will be this much only. Okay, so if it is changing, then it is the problem. Now coming to this, so here 3 seconds and 3 seconds, so total 6 seconds will be there. Okay, in 6 seconds means in 1 minute, sorry, in 6 seconds how many QRS complex is there? So that will be denoting the one ECG strip. How? See, in this you can see this is the 3 seconds and 3 seconds. This is 3 seconds, this is 3 seconds. In 3 seconds, this total 3 and 3 plus 6 seconds. So in 6 seconds, how many QRS complex is there? So here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So total 9 QRS complex will be there. So in 6 seconds, 9 QRS complex will be there. So then in 60 seconds, how many beats will be there? So 90. So in 60 seconds, 90 QRS complex will be there. So that we can say it is the heart rate is 90 beats per minute. So in 6 seconds there should be 6 to 10 QRS complex. So in 6 seconds there is 6 to 10 QRS complex, then it is normal sinus rhythm. If it is going below the 6, if it is less than 6 QRS complex, then it will be a sinus bradycardia. If it is greater than 10 QRS complex in 6 seconds, so then it will be a sinus tachycardia. Okay, so this is the main thing. Here you can see same things it has written. The method can be used to determine the heart for regular and irregular rhythm. To determine the atrial and To determine the atrial rate, count the number of P waves in 6 seconds. So count the number of P wave in 6 seconds and multiply by 10. So in full minute you can find the heart rate. Okay. And to determine the ventricular rate, so this is for atrial rate, P waves we will calculate, and for ventricular rate, what we will, QRS complex we will calculate. So multiply by 10, so it can be denoted in 60 seconds. How much heart rate is there, so it can be measured. Heart rate is there. So for accuracy, the timing should be begin on the P waves or QRS complex exactly as 30 large blocks later. Okay, so this is the thing. Now coming to sinus bradycardia. Actually, what is sinus bradycardia? Bradycardia means the heart rate is below 60, so that is bradycardia. So in sinus bradycardia, what will be happening? Atrial and ventricular rhythm are regular. Atrial and ventricular rates are less than 60 beats per minute. Okay, so atrial and ventricular rates will be less than 60 beats per minute. PR interval and QRS width within normal limits. So it will be within normal limits. So actually, what will happen in sinus bradycardia? So atrial and ventricular rhythm are that rhythm will be regular. Rhythm will be regular, and PR interval and QR will be in normal limits only. So what will be happen? So in this, so there will be the rate of atrial and ventricular rate of contraction, it will be less than 60. So it will be less than 60. So that is sinus bradycardia. Actually rhythm, this PRS complex will be no changes in this, it will be same only, no peak point and all, no J point. So it will be normal. This ECG will be normal only, but the contraction of heart, it will be less than 60 beats per minute. So this is called sinus bradycardia. The contraction rate will be decreased for atrial contraction and ventricular contraction. So that we can say it is the sinus bradycardia, or in other words we can say, like in 6 minutes we are able to see the 9 ECGs. Okay, we are able to see the 9 ECG like this in 9. But in bradycardia, what we will see? We will be able to see only some few ECGs, less than 6 ECG in 6 seconds. Okay, in 6 seconds less than 6 ECG means that is sinus bradycardia. So what is the treatment? Treatment may be necessary if client is symptomatic. When client is symptomatic, then only treatment is necessary. Signs of decreased cardiac output. So that means if cardiac output is decreased, when ventricular and atrial contraction will decrease, so cardiac output also will be decreased. Okay, so it will lead to the hypotension. So when hypotension and these signs are there, so we need some treatment. Okay, so note that a low heart rate may be normal for some individuals such as athletes. So this is important point here. So it can be asked in the options. So in which individuals it is low heart rate is normal? So it is, the answer is athletes. So in athletes it can be a normal. Okay, now coming to intervention. So what we can do if bradycardia is there, low heart rate is there, so what we can do? So intervention, attempt to determine the cause of sinus bradycardia. First we need to determine why sinus bradycardia is occurring, why heart rate is low. If medication is suspected to causing the bradycardia, because of medication is there, so withhold that medication and notify the SCP. If the bradycardia is occurring due to some medication, so we need to hold that medication and notify the SCP. Administer the oxygen. So we need to administer oxygen as prescribed for symptomatic clients. So this oxygen also unnecessary, we need, I already told you previous classes, oxygen always also should not be administered unnecessary. First we need to consult with the doctor only, so then only it should be administered. Okay, administer atropine sulfate. This is also very important. So it always comes. So atropine sulfate is a drug of choice in the bradycardia. So this is a DOC in bradycardia. So we can administer the atropine if it is prescribed. be prepared to apply non-invasive pacemaker. If medical treatment is not successful, so what we can do, be prepared for non-invasive pacemaker initially if atropine sulfate does not increase the heart rate. If atropine sulfate are not able to increase the heart rate, so what we can do, non-invasive transcutaneous pacemaker we can put. Okay, so pacemaker what will do, it will initiate the contraction of the atrium and ventricular part, okay, ventricles, so it will increase the contraction of heart, so heart rate will increase. So these are the interventions we can do. Avoid additional dose of atropine sulfates, so we should avoid the additional doses of atropine sulfate. This will induce the tachycardia, so we should not give so much of atropine sulfate also, it should be in limit. So we need to follow the prescription how much it should be, and we need to concern with the SCP because atropine can cause the tachycardia, so we need to watch for tachycardia also. Monitor for hypotension. For hypotension, administer the intravenous fluid prescribed. So what will be having, if cardiac output, so bradycardia is there, sinus bradycardia is there, so what will be there, so cardiac output decrease. When cardiac output is decreased, so BP will be low. BP will be low means hypotension will be there. Why hypotension is occurring, because cardiac output is decreased, so blood volume is decreased in the vessels. So blood volume is decreased, so it will lead to the hypotension. And so for that what we need to administer, we need to administer intravenously fluids. So we need to administer fluids administration, we need to do. Depending on the causes of bradycardia, the client may need a permanent pacemaker. So when according to causes, why it is occurring bradycardia, due to some medications or any other thing, any functional problem in the atria and ventricle, so it is depending on the causes, then only we can go further for permanent pacemaker. So it will decide by the causes. So who will decide this? SCP will decide what we need to do. So this is the sinus bradycardia. Now coming to sinus tachycardia. Sinus tachycardia, atrial and ventricular rates are, so in bradycardia it will be less than 60 and tachycardia means it will be greater than 100. So it will be atrial and ventricular rates are 100 to 180 beats per minute. So that is sinus tachycardia. Atrial and ventricular rhythms are regular. Rhythms in this also rhythm will be regular, but ECG, more ECG complex will be there in a minute. So there in 6 seconds, 6 to 10 ECG is normal, okay, in 6 seconds, but in bradycardia it will be less than 6, in tachycardia it will be greater than 6. So in 6 seconds, so it will be more than 6 ECG, like 6, it will be more than 6 ECGs, like here, one here, so it will be more than 6 ECGs in more than 10 ECGs, sorry, not 6, more than 10 ECGs in 6 seconds, okay. So then it will be called as a tachycardia, sinus tachycardia. Intervention. So what are the intervention we can do? Identify the causes of tachycardia. So what is the cause of tachycardia? We need to identify it, and decrease heart rate to normal by treating the underlying causes. So we need to treat that cause, why this tachycardia is occurring. So we need to do this, okay. So now coming to atrial fibrillation. So what is atrial fibrillation? So actually fibrillation means what? Fibrillation means what? Fibrillation means contraction, okay. Fastest contraction is called fibrillation. So in fibrillation what will happen, like atria is contracting, so atrial contraction is more rapid, it will be a more rapidly it will contract, it will not be contract, it is a fastest vibration, it is a fastest vibration, not a contraction. So there will be a fastest vibration only, it won't be a contraction, so that is called atrial fibrillation, okay. Heart will be vibrate very fast, it will vibrate very fast. So when it will be vibrate very fast, contraction will be zero, so contraction will be zero. So when contraction is zero, so ventricular filling will be affected. When ventricular filling will be affected, then what, cardiac output also will decrease. So cardiac output also will decrease in atrial fibrillation. So what it has is multiple rapid impulses from many foci depolarization in atria in a totally disorganized manner as a rate of 350 to 600 times per minute. So it will be fast vibration will be there in the atria. How much? It will be vibrated by 350 to 600 times per minute. In a minute it will vibrate is more than 350 times. The atria quiver which can lead to the formation of thrombi. So atria is when atria will be fastest vibration will be there. So fastest vibration means the blood collection will be there in the atria. When blood collection is there in the atria, it will lead to the formation of thrombi. So when so much blood is collected in the atria, because atria is only vibrating, it is not contracting means, so ventricular filling is affected. When ventricular filling is affected, that means that blood is where it is there in the atria only, so it will be get collected in the atrium only. So when it is the risk for thrombus formation, or it will form the thrombi. Clotting formation will be there in the atrium. So this is the atrial fibrillation. You can see here, so there won't be any P wave. It will, because atrium is not contracting, it is just vibrating. So it will be like this rhythm will come. Okay, like this rhythm will come. So this is the atrial fibrillation. So usually no definitive P waves. So there won't be any definitive P waves, and can be observed only fibrillatory waves before each QRS complex. So it will be like this. Okay, so before each QRS complex there will be some fibrillatory, some waves will be there. Why waves are there? Because it is not contracting. That atrium is just what they are doing, it is just vibrating only. Okay, so intervention, what we can do? Administer oxygen, administer anticoagulation as prescribed, because the risk of emboli. So this is very important. When atrial fibrillation is there, we need to administer the anticoagulants. Why we need to administer? Because risk for thrombus formation. If thrombus formation occurs, then it is the risk for emboli, whether it is pulmonary emboli or cerebral emboli, it can be there. So administer cardiac medication as prescribed to control the ventricular rhythm. So we need to administer cardiac medication also for control the ventricular rhythm and assist in the maintenance of cardiac output. Why? In this what will happen? Because ventricular filling is not there properly. So when ventricular filling is not there properly, cardiac output has increased. So we need to again give some medication to contract the ventricles. So when we need to make the ventricles contract, so cardiac output will increase. So we need to increase the cardiac output. So how it will be increased? We need to give some medication that can contract the ventricles properly and contract the atrium properly, so that bloods can go fill the ventricles and ventricles can give the proper cardiac output. Prepare the client for cardioversion as prescribed. So atrial fibrillation, client will be keeping on the cardioversion. So we can put the cardioversion as if it is prescribed. Instruct the client in the use of medication as prescribed to control and dysarrhythmias. So we can give the medication to control the dysarrhythmias if it is prescribed. So this is the atrial fibrillation. Like atrial fibrillation, there is one more thing is there, that is atrial flutter. So in atrial flutter, the ECG will be like this. So there will be a sawtooth appearance will be there. Sawtooth appearance will be there. So in our channel one more video is there for ECG short trick. So in that you can see full dysarrhythmias. I have shown all pictures there. Okay, and some points are there, so you can go through that also. In that atrial fibrillation, atrial flutter, everything I have shown in that. Now coming to premature ventricular contraction. So what is premature? So in the name itself we can know premature means before the maturation ventricles has contracted. So before the filling, itself ventricle has contracted. So before the filling ventricle contracts, that is called premature ventricular contraction. So early ventricular contraction results from the increased irritability of the ventricles. Okay, PVCs frequently occur in repeated patterns such as bigeminy, trigeminy and quadrigeminy. Okay, the QRS complex may be unifocal and multifocal. So it can be denoted by, it can be generated by multifocal or unifocal. The intervention, identify the cause and treat on the basis of the causes. So why it is occurring, so we need to assess the why it is occurring. Due to any medication or any heart defect is there, so we need to assess that. According to that, we need to do the interventions. So evaluate the oxygen saturation. First we need to if oxygen saturation is good or not, which can cause the PVC. Assess for hypoxemia. If hypoxemia is there, so hypoxemia means tissue low level of oxygen in the tissue, so which can lead to the causes of PVC. That means proper oxygen supply is not there, so it is the main cause for PVC. Premature contraction will be there, premature ventricular contraction will be there. Evaluates electrolytes. If electrolyte imbalance is there, then also it can lead to the premature ventricular contraction, particularly potassium level. So main the potassium is very crucial elements, very important elements for heart, potassium. So we need to assess the potassium, and one more, magnesium is also very important, because hypokalemia can cause the PVC. So hypokalemia is there, so it will lead to the premature ventricular contractions. Oxygen and medication may be prescribed. So we can prescribe the oxygen and medications also in case of acute myocardial ischemia or MI. So if MI is occurring or any ischemic condition is there, so we can administer the oxygen or any medications. For the client experiencing PVC, so this is very important point here. So if the client is experiencing PVC, premature ventricular contraction, notify the SCP if client complains of the chest pain. So one more thing is there, if PVC is occurring less than 5, so we need to monitor it. If it is going greater than 5 or 6, we need to inform the SCP. There won't be anything no need to do. Just if it is greater than 5 or 6, you need to inform the SCP, directly inform the continuously premature ventricular contraction is there, on the ECG, you have to inform the SCP. That is your first responsibility. It is the question, very important question is here. Okay, if chest pain is also occurring, complains the chest pain, or if PVC is increased frequency, so same it is written, if client is complaining chest pain is there, or frequency means so many contractions, premature ventricular contraction are seen on the ECG, so you have to inform the SCP. Okay, or multifocal frequency or multifocal occurs on the T wave or occur in the ventricular tachycardia, same whatever I said that is written. Now coming to ventricular tachycardia, before that this is the image for premature ventricular contraction. So you can see here, so this is the premature ventricular contraction. So here one box is there, so you can see this premature ventricular contraction every other heartbeat. So in every other heartbeat, premature ventricular contraction can occur. So that is bigeminy. Okay, trigeminy PVC every third heartbeat. So in bigeminy every second heartbeat or every other beat. In third trigeminy mean every third beat. Quadrigeminy mean every fourth beat. Couplet or pair, so two sequential PVCs will be there. Okay, unifocal, uniform upward or downward deflection. So whether it can be upward or whether it can be downward deflection arising from the same ectopic focus. So from the same side only it is coming. Okay, multifocal means different shapes can be there with the impulse generated from the different sides. So in unifocal means from the one side only impulse is coming, and multifocal impulse can come here, from here, from here, from here. Okay, so that is why that multifocal can occur. R on T phenomena. R on T phenomena means PVC falls on the T waves, so it has not continued the T waves, so that R wave will be fall on the T wave. The preceding beats may precipitate ventricular fibrillation. So when it is occurring, so it may lead to the ventricular fibrillation. When R wave is not going up, it is coming to down. So okay, so T wave also come down, that means again it will lead to the ventricular fibrillations. So this is very important point here. Now coming to ventricular tachycardia. So what is ventricular tachycardia? Tachycardia means increasing heart rate. Okay, increasing heart rate means which in that ventricles have beating fastly. So that is ventricular tachycardia. Beating occurs because of repetitive firing of an irritable ventricular ectopic focus at a roll of 140 to 250 beats per minute or more. So when it is going greater than 140 to 250, so it is called ventricular tachycardia. Okay, so in ventricular repeated contraction is there. So in ventricular may be present of paroxysm of 3 self-limiting beats or more, or may be sustained rhythm. So it can be sustained also, and paroxysms of 3 limiting beats. So VT can lead to the cardiac arrest. When VT is there, VT will be like this. So there won't be any P wave. So why P wave will not be there? Only just ventricles are contracting, artery has not contracted that much. So ventricles are contracting, and that is also fastly contracting, like it is also vibrating only. So not that much vibrating. When so much vibration will be there, that will be a fibrillation. So the ventricles are contracting so much, so it will lead to the ventricular tachycardia. So heart rate will be increased. So in that, if ventricular tachycardia is there, so it can lead to the cardiac arrest. So this is very important point here, where VT can lead to the cardiac arrest. Number 2 point is there, stable client with sustained VT. If sustained VT is there, a client is stable. Client is stable means with pulse and no sign symptom of decreased cardiac output. Pulse is there, pulse you can palpate, and no sign symptom of decreased cardiac output. So and cardiac output is also not decreased. So what will be there? That client is called stable client. So for that, what we can do, we can administer the oxygen and we can give the antidyspneic medications only. So prescribed medication, doctor will prescribe that antidyspneic medication we can give, like lidocaine. This we can give if client is stable with pulse and no sign symptom of decreased cardiac output. If client is unstable with VT, with the unstable means with pulse is there but sign and symptom of decreased cardiac output is there. So what we need to do? For that patient, oxygen we need to administer, antidyspneic medication also we have to give according to prescription, and prepare for synchronized cardioversion. For this patient we need to prepare the for cardioversion. Okay, if the client is unstable, then only we have to prepare for synchronized cardioversion. The SCP may attempt cuff cardio. This is very important point here. The SCP may attempt cuff CPR by asking the client to cough hard every 1 to 3 seconds. So in this situation, when VT is there and client is conscious, when client is conscious, so client can ask the doctor SCP can ask the client to cough. So that cough is called cuff CPR. So what will be there? When he will be coughing every 1 to 3 seconds, that intrathoracic pressure will be increased, and it will help to increase the cardiac output. So when cardiac outputs, so it will lead to the reperfusion to the brain cells. So when brain will be working, so we will get some times to initiate the defibrillation and other therapies. So cuff CPR is also useful when patient is conscious only. When patient is conscious, so you can ask for cuff CPR. When patient is unconscious, pulse is not there, he is not responsive, breath is not there, you should not go for cuff CPR, because patient is unconscious, how he will cough. So cuff CPR only for when patient is conscious. So why actually it is? So it is actually for increasing the intrathoracic pressure, then it will lead to it will increase the reperfusion of the brain cells also. So some brain cells and cardiac output, some cardiac output will increase, so we will get some time to resuscitate the patient again. Okay, so we will go for with some antidyspneic medications, and we can go for defibrillation. So according to SCP we can go. So next, one more point is there, pulseless client. If client is pulseless with VT is there, ventricular tachycardia is there, but no pulse, so that drug of choice treatment of choice is CPR, and defib. So first we need to start the CPR, then we need to give the defibrillation. We need to do the defibrillation. So this is the ventricular tachycardia. I'll show you a picture. So this is the ventricular tachycardia. So it will be like this. So in this you are able to see only QRS complex is there, no P wave, no P wave, no T wave, only QRS complex is there. So this is the ventricular tachycardia. Now coming to ventricular fibrillation. So what is ventricular fibrillation? So fibrillation, I told you, fastest vibration. Fibrillation means fastest vibration is called fibrillation. So whether it is occurring in the atrium, so that is atrial fibrillation. If it is occurring in the ventricles, that is ventricular fibrillation. So fastest vibration in the ventricles, that is called ventricular fibrillations. So description: impulse from the irritable foci in the ventricles fire in a totally disorganized manner. So from the irritable foci, what will be there? Ventricles will be vibrating. So it will be totally disorganized, but that means it won't be in any rhythm, any way. It will be totally disorganized. So that is called ventricular fibrillation. So what will be happening in this? VF is a chaotic rapid rhythm in which ventricle quavers and there is no cardiac output. Chaotic rapid rhythm means irregular, very irregular rhythm will be there. So that will be like this, like this, like this, it will be there. So very irregular rhythm will be there which the ventricles quiver and there is no cardiac output. So very irregular rhythm will be there from the ventricles. So ventricles, it will be there and there is no cardiac output. So when there won't be, what will be there in VF actually? So VF only, it will be just vibration will be there. So when it will be vibrating, it won't have contraction. So it won't be contraction. So when ventricles are not contracting, so cardiac output also will decrease. That means cardiac output, it will be zero. Cardiac output will be zero. When cardiac output is zero, that means hypovolemia is there. When hypovolemia is there, then BP will fall down. So this is very life threatening condition because cardiac output is decreased, that means cardiac output is zero. So that is life threatening condition. So VF is fatal if not successfully terminated within 3 to 5 minutes. If you are not able to terminate in 3 to 5 minutes, so it is a fatal condition, patient will die. Okay. So client lack of pulse, BP, respiration and heart sound and is unconscious. BP and pulse and respiration and heart sound is not there, that client is called unconsciousness. So for intervention, what we can do, if VF is there, ventricular fibrillation is there, what we can do? So clients initiate the CPR until defibrillator is available. So first always we need to do first CPR, then we need to go the defibrillation, whether it is ventricular tachycardia and fibrillation. Directly we no need to give the defibrillation. If in option CPR is there first, so you need to choose the CPR. If in option, first option itself or second CPR is there, so first responsibility is CPR, then defib. Okay. If CPR is not there and defibrillation is given, then you need to choose the defibrillation. Okay. The client is defibrillated immediately with 120 to 200 joule. If you are giving the biphasic defibrillator, then we can give the energy from 120 to 200 joule. Or if you are giving monophasic defibrillation, so do monophasic defibrillation 360 joules we can give. Check the entire length of the client 3 times to make sure no one is touching the client or bed. When clear, proceed the defibrillation. So before the giving the defibrillation, we need to check the client's length. Okay, so from the top to bottom, side by side, we need to check anything is touched with the client, any other staffs and all. So we need to ask the all clear, like this we need to ask. So there is a code, I clear, you clear and all clear. So this we need to ask the 3 times. Okay, so we need to ask this 3 times, then we need to give the defibrillation. CPR is continued for 2 minutes. So after that CPR will be continued for 2 minutes and that cardiac rhythm is reassessed. After that we need to assess the cardiac rhythm to determine the need for further counter shock. If it is okay, then no need for any shock. If it is not okay, after 2 minutes CPR we have to do defib. Then administer the oxygen is prescribed. Administer antidysarrhythmic therapy as prescribed. So any medication and all we need to administer. Now coming to guidelines for CPR. So what are the, so 1 minute we need, so this is ventricular dysarrhythmia, that means ventricular fibrillation. So it is, there won't be any P wave, any QRS complex, no T wave, no P wave, no QRS complex, no P wave, just it will be just vibration only, it will be rhythm like this only. Okay, so that is ventricular fibrillation. Coming to CPR, guidelines for CPR. So what we need to do, if victim is noted not breathing or only gasping, if victim is not breathing, he is not breathing, only gasping, activate the emergency response system. So we need to immediately respond the emergency response we need to do, and obtain automated external defibrillator, AED we need to get it, or monophasic biphasic defibrillator depending on the setting equipment available. So we need to do this defib. Or before that we need to this keep ready and emergency code, and CPR we need to start. Check the carotid pulse. So we need to check the carotid pulse at least 10 seconds, sorry, maximum 10 seconds we need to check it. If no pulse is felt, begin the chest compression. When pulse is not there, we need to begin the chest compression. So that depth should be 2 inches or 5 centimeter for 2 minutes. So for 2 minutes it will be, for 2 inches depth should be 2 inches, that means 5 centimeter, or 5 cycle for 30 compression to 2 ventilation, that means 30:2 ratio will be there. That is whether it is 1 rescuer is there or 2 rescuer is there. So compression and chest compression and ventilation ratio is the 2:30 compression and 2 breaths. Okay, so this is the ratio. Then check rhythm or for presence of a pulse every 2 minutes. So in every 2 minutes we need to check for pulse after 5 cycles. So 5 cycles are completed, we need to reassess the patients, and depending on the setting and equipment available, deliver a shock if indicated. If indicated, we can deliver the shock. Switch compression and ventilation roles if another rescuer is available to avoid the fatigue. So what is there, if 2 rescuer is there, so we need to interchange that part. If first one is compression and another one is doing for ventilation, so they need to interchange their work. So first should go for ventilation, then another second one should go for compression, because it will avoid to fatigue, because patient will be tired, sorry, patient, that rescuer will be tired. So they need to interchange if 2 rescuer is there. Continue this process until the victim gains consciousness. So it should be continued until the victim gains consciousness, start breathing and has a pulse. So it should be done till pulse has returned and he started breathing and he got consciousness. If the victim has pulse but is not breathing, when pulse is back but he is not breathing, continue with rescue breathing. So we need to continue with the rescue breathing until help arrives and advanced cardiovascular life support measure is instituted. Okay, so what is that? If pulse is back and not breathing is there, so we need to rescue with the breathing until the help has come. Okay, and we need to take the life support and we need to take the patient in a institute, that is higher institute, and all this everything we need to do. So this is the dysarrhythmias and all. So in next video we will see the management of dysarrhythmias, so how we can manage, like vagal maneuver and all, and medications and all. So these are the ECG patterns. So here you can see one more video. If you want to see, you can see on this YouTube channel short tips of ECG and EKG, that you can watch everything in short. I have discussed there. Okay, thank you all of you. Thank you. We'll meet in next video. Thank you. If you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Again and again I am saying, please subscribe my channel and share it to others and ask others to subscribe. Thank you.